Hi guys, I'm here today to talk to you about the comparison trap, the social media comparison trap that we find ourselves in. And this is true for people of all ages, for kids of all ages, for our teens, for us. It's an age-old issue, and it's just come to much more of a head with social media. Oh, hi, I'm Melanie from Parenting High Schoolers, and I'm here today to talk to you again about the social media comparison trap that our kids and really ourselves find ourselves in probably more than we would like. And because it is such a mental health issue, a trigger, I just felt like this is something I needed to address. We used to have a saying in the olden days, keeping up with the Joneses. Well, that meant that you were, trying to do what your neighbors were doing or owning the things that your neighbors had. But in order to get those things or to have those things, you had to look in the first place. You had to realize that what they had seemed better. That was a saying that was around long before social media. And the other one that I came across was the grass is always greener on the other side. Irma Bombeck wrote, I think there was even a movie, it was hysterical, but we always think what's on the other side of that fence is greener, is better, is more. And I think that is such a trap that we have ages and ages upon ages ago and even to now had this issue. And with social media being what it is, the problem is even worse. And I would say even more so for our teens than it was for us, because we didn't have a way to see what our friends were doing, and our friends weren't posting pictures with everybody, and then my child is home alone that didn't get invited to the party or to the outing where everyone is posting and having such a good time. So what can we do? Well, first of all, we need to realize that, first of all, this is not true. It may look better. That other side may look greener. Have you seen those kinds of movies? And these would be good ones to watch with your teens, like 17 Again or Freaky Friday. And they're not 100% about the social media trap, but they are about the fact that, seeing what's on the other side is sometimes a good thing. To realize that maybe it's not so great, that to be a teenager is fun for a while. You don't want to quite be a grown up yet. And so that's a little bit of a stretch as far as like the social media trap. But I think that as you watch shows like that where they get switched, or there is, well, even age old Prince and the Pauper, like the other side thinks that what they, the pauper thinks the prince has it all, and what the prince realizes is, just because he has all the money and everything, it doesn't mean that he's always so happy. I think that by opening conversations with movies or stories or even things that are in the news is a great way for us to talk to our kids, to our teens, about the fact that, what you see is not always the truth. And I think that's something to stress, especially with your teens, is that a lot of times these kids that are posting, oh, this new outfit, or I'm on this vacation, well, some of those things are true. That there's no getting around that. They actually have that outfit on, or they're actually on the beach. But they're only posting what is the best or the ultimate. So there are a million moments in a day that are not being posted, where those kids are lonely, where they are unhappy, where their parents are fighting, or they got an F on a paper. Yes, they're posting beautiful things and places, but what our kids need to understand is that they're posting that maybe to mask the pain of what really is happening. So maybe mom and dad have a gob of money, but they're getting a divorce. But I'm going to post this beautiful outfit that I just went and bought because I'm so miserably unhappy. I think that's something we really need to stress to our teens, is that, we even get caught in that. Like, I'll see friends that are together and I'm like, oh, why? That would have been fun. I would have loved to have gone on that. But, maybe they just ran into each other. I mean, you just never know the whole story. They need to remember that the opposite may be true of what the actual picture is showing. Even though, like I said, they actually do have the outfit on. They probably did purchase that, but at what cost? So here are some other sayings that your teen needs to remember. Bloom where you are planted. take happiness in where you are. This is one that I've stressed to one of my boys over and over again. The grass was always greener for him. There was always something that he was missing out on. And that's another thing, the FOMO, fear of missing out. That's a hard one. Our teens want to be, popular, and they want to be with the in people, and they want to do the things. We need to remind them that there are great things going on wherever it is that they are. It may not be what they think they want to do, but so here's the thing. They need to make the best of it, bloom where they are planted. And some ways that can happen. So here is this, all of these were research findings that I just was playing around on the computer looking for. So number one, gratitude. It has been proven that when you find things to be grateful for, you are happier. My advice is at the end of every day, to find 3 things, and it's even better if you write it down, because A, you don't forget it, and you can look back over time, but B, the tangible writing it out just makes it hit home even more. So find 3 things at the end of every day that you are thankful for, and it doesn't have to be some, giant thing. It can be the sun shone today, or that cute boy smiled at me. It can be small things. And find 3 things. It's even better if you can find 5 or even 10. Maybe there's a day that it just seems like, but the minimum goal needs to be 3 things. It might be, I made it through the day. And for some of our teens, if that's all they can be grateful for, that might be time for a talk. But okay, so 3 things at the end of each day. So then when they wake up in the morning, and this is true for us too, all of these tips are good for adults as well. So in the morning, make a goal. I suggest having a quiet time, even 10 or 15 minutes. Make a goal, have a mantra, or find a verse for the day that you are going to try to live this day by, that you're going to continually remember it. Put it on an index card, put it on a Post-it note, put it on a note in your phone, somewhere where you can occasionally remind yourself. Maybe set a couple of alarms during the day. I want to look back at that verse. I want to look back at that thought. It's going to get me through this day. Sometimes just having that tangible piece of paper or note in your phone is enough to jerk you out of whatever sad spot you are in at, say, 2 p.m. when you've set your alarm to look at that. At least 1 to 2 hours off of social media. This is a hard one, especially for our teens. For me, it's even hard for me, but I can put my phone down and walk away from it. And for me, I can do housework, I can read a book, really, the phone needs to be in another room almost, so you don't hear it buzz or ding or ring or any of that. But for our kids, it's hard, and it may be something you build up to, or maybe an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, especially with summer starting. They really need to be encouraged to not be on their phones all the time, because there are going to be things that are happening without them, because guess what? The world goes on whether we're at every activity or not. So they need to just turn it off and turn off some of those notifications. My boys, I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it was some sort of a social media. It was about the algorithms that Facebook and Instagram and all of those use to predict human behavior. I will try to find what that was. I feel like it was on Netflix. And they turned off a lot of their, now, are they still off? I don't know. But they really were affected by watching this show. And maybe if I put that link below, which by the way, would you subscribe to my channel? I would really appreciate it. I love helping teens and I'm here every week. I will find the link to that. And if not, at some point when I do find it, I will add it for sure. Embrace the here and now. We, as well as our teens, need to embrace what is happening now. Is this a day that there was nothing bad in it, that we were able to spend time as a family, that we got a meal in together, that we got a great, a scholarship award in the mail, we got a nice note from a teacher. I mean, sometimes nothing out of the ordinary happens, and that needs to be okay. Fill some of the time with fun things. Find a card game that everybody likes. Find a show that everybody likes. I wrote a blog post about Schitt's Creek that my family watched all during the pandemic and we loved it. Another thing my youngest son and I did was we went through all the Marvel movies together. And that was so fun. We just finished the other night and I almost want to start again because I feel like there were so many layers in those movies. So find something with your teen that will help pull them out of this FOMO and this comparison trap that they seem to get trapped in and wallow around in. This can really, really, really affect all of our mental health. So these easy solutions that I mentioned, the gratitude journal, or just thinking of 3 things that you're grateful for, making a goal or having a mantra for each morning, and then 1 to 2 hours without a device. 3 central, easy, super things to do to have a healthier mental outlook. I just saw a picture, either I will post his name and maybe he'll let me share his graphic. It was a picture of 2 men that were digging holes side by side. And the one guy has dug this hole and there's nothing in it. But the other guy has just found a little diamond. And he gets up and so in the second cartoon, the guy that found the diamond is leaving because he's going to go spend his money or give his girlfriend a ring or whatever. And the guy in the second hole is like going, so he walks away. But then the third cartoon at the bottom shows that the 2 holes side by side, and just below where the guy has dug that walked away with nothing is a giant diamond, like 6 inches down from where he was. If he had just kept going. Remind your team, remind yourself that your path is yours and you need to make the most of it. And there are going to be diamonds that you find, and there's going to be days where you have an empty hole and there is nothing. But we can always find things to be grateful for. We can always have a goal for a day, a positive saying, a prayer, some kind of a guide that is going to be positive, and try to have 1 to 2 hours without social media devices. Subscribe to my channel below, and I will see you next week.